you for watching Edupedia World videos. In this video, we learn about the client copy and the transport. Okay, so how the client copies are done using transports. Client copy. You can use the client copy to create, for example, the following clients. New clients from the SAP reference client 000 during installation of an SAP system. So initially when you install the SAP system, by default you will get 3 clients, that is 000, 001 and 066. Okay, so those are the reference clients. Okay, we generally don't use them for the productive purpose. Okay, whether it's a development, test, quality or production, we create a new client after the system is initially installed. Okay, so first thing is we have to create a new client from the reference client. So in that case we have to do a client copy. The next one is for training, to create the training clients, then to create the demo, test and production clients. Okay, so to create a new client we use the initial reference client and then we have to copy it. So that's why client copy is very important step. Okay, initially after a fresh installation is done, or whenever there is a need for a new client in your system, okay, so we do a client copy. We copy the data from the existing client. The configuration and the data from the source client are copied to the target client. The source client can be in the same or in the system. Yes, so the source client which you are copying can be from the same system. So already say you have a client 100, so you can create a new client 200 by copying 100 from the same system, or you can copy the client from another system. Okay, you can copy selected parts of an existing client into another client. Example, the user master data with the copy profile SAP_user with the client copy tools. So when we copy client, we need not copy all the data. So it depends on our business again. So say like I want to copy only the user master data. Okay, user master data is nothing but it's the set of the data which has the authorizations, roles, users, profiles, everything related to the SAP users. Okay, so this is the profile for that SAP_user. So similarly in the next slides we'll learn like what are the different types of profiles available. Okay, so here what we want to tell is like we can copy only a selected part of data in the client. We can do a full copy client, or whatever data you want, only that can be copied. You should use the profile SAP_cust to copy client 000 to create your first client, because the consistency of the application data in the SAP delivery client is not guaranteed. Okay, so after a fresh installation you use the profile SAP_cust to create your first client. Okay, because the consistency of the application data in the SAP delivery client is not guaranteed. So all the customization you copy it. SAP_cust has all the customization. Okay, so using that you create your new client. You no longer have to transport clients before. You can copy them between systems. You can make a remote copy instead. SAP will continue to support the transport function. So you need not transport the clients between the two systems. So there is one more option as a remote copy also. So that's what, like these different types of copies, profiles we'll see in the next slides. Okay, so here client copy means whenever we want to create a new client, we have to copy from an existing client. Okay, so first when a system is freshly installed, we create the new client by copying using the reference client is the 000 client which SAP delivers to us. The next one is you can copy the entire client or only the whatever data you are concerned about. Say it's the SAP_user, SAP_cust. So we have different profiles. The next thing is when we have to do a client copy between two systems, we need not transport that client using transport request. There is an option as remote copy also. Okay, so this also we'll see in the next slide. So these are all the facilities which SAP provides for copying clients. Now, the initial preparation, the target client. You can create a new client in the client maintenance, that is the transaction SCC4. You must be authorized in the target client for the client copy. So first thing is like I'm creating a new client now. So first SCC4 is the initial in that particular screen. Okay, you have to first enter your inputs of the client details. Okay, give your new number, the new number of the client, whatever it is. It's the 3-digit number and some description. Okay, and the logical system. What is the logical system means? Every, say like my system ID is ABC, so the logical system is your ABC followed by your client number. Okay, or you can create a new name also, but generally this is the naming convention which is used, especially for RFCs and everything. Okay, to identify that particular client in the system, this logical system terminology is used. Okay, so first in SCC4 you have to enter the new client with some description, save it. Then the newly created client contains the initial user SAP star with the password pass, which you can use to copy a client. So by default SAP provides SAP star is a username and the password is pass. You can log in to any client using that particular username and password. Okay, so there is a parameter associated with this. So first thing is like login automatic user SAP star, I think. So that is the password, that is the parameter. So if that parameter should be set to you have to set that parameter accordingly so that you have to log in. If you are unable to log in, you can change that parameter, then you will be able to log into that client using SAP star and password. Generally what we do is they lock the SAP star user. Okay, if they lock it, you will not be able to log in. Okay, but generally you can set that parameter so that you can log in. Okay, that's why. So see, now you are creating a new client. First, don't get confused, you are creating a new client. Okay, so this user is in the SAP kernel, the SAP star and password. Okay, it's still not yet created in that client. User, see I'm a user. Okay, my name is Deepthi, I'm logging in, so I have some user ID. Somebody person X is logging in, he'll have a user ID. All the users are created in SAP, but this user SAP star pass is embedded in the SAP kernel. Okay, so that use, even though it need not be physically created in the SAP level. Okay, actually you need not create it at the SAP level. By default SAP provides the SAP star and pass user ID. To prevent unauthorized access of this user login, we have you see somebody like anybody, they will try to log into any system by using SAP star and pass. So that's why in real-time scenarios what they do is they set that parameter so that this user cannot log in to the SAP system. Okay, so when required you can unlock it. You can set that parameter accordingly so that you can log in using the SAP star and pass. And sometimes what they do, they create this user at SAP level and they lock it there. Okay, understood? So this user SAP star is embedded in the SAP kernel. So by default, even though that user is not physically actually existing in the SAP level, you can log in. So that's why you create a new client first in SCC4. Okay, then you log in to that client using SAP star and pass. Okay, so to do a client copy, first you have to create the client in SCC4. Okay, in whatever system it is. So there in SCC4 it displays all the clients in the system. Then you log into that client. Okay, the new client which is created. Resource requirements. Copying clients requires a large amount of system resources. To avoid premature termination due to bottlenecks, ensure that enough resources are available by the database. You should have some database storage space. You have to consider about the runtime and the system load also. So coming to the resource requirements, this client copy is a resource intensive program. Okay, copying client, it puts so much, it uses so much CPU, it uses so much memory, it uses so much database space. Okay, so before you go for a client copy, you should ensure that you have enough space at the database level and the file system level. Okay, the runtimes will be high. Okay, and because of this client copy, the other, say like already I have some clients running in the system, I'm creating one more client, so it will put load on the system also. Now coming to the storage space, before it's SAP advises you to do a test run before copying the client. The total of the copied and the deleted data in KB is at the end of the log file. So you can do a test run. Okay, so by doing a test run, you will come to know like how much time it will take and how much space it will need, so that accordingly you will make that much space available to the database. Okay, then the runtime. Copying a client can take several hours or even days. Users or background process in clients other than the source or target clients can make the time longer. Okay, so this client copying, it can take hours or even days. Okay, so this will impact the other activities which are running in the system. For example, logs in a third client in the same system, okay, can delay the processing of objects. You can work in the system while client copy is running, but you should only do so in exceptional cases because you could cause data inconsistencies. Now, say like I'm creating a new client in my system. Okay, so I have the source, I have the target. Source is okay. Source, and there is no problem. Users can use the source during any time of the client copy. In the target client, when the data is getting copied, okay, when the other users use that system, there may be a chance, when they try to update some table where we have some cross client data, right? Okay, client specific data, you don't have any problem anytime, but the cross client data is same for all the clients, right? So if such tables or something, if the users and the other clients are accessing it and here the copy is happening, so that will cause inconsistencies. That's why generally in real-time scenarios, when a new client is created, okay, they log that entire system. They don't allow users to access the system. Only the administrators, they log in and check about the client copy, how good it's running. Okay, generally the system is logged, all the users are logged. Okay, so runtimes will be high, very high, because depending on the data which has to be copied, if the data is less, it's well and good, the copy will also complete in less time. However, if the data is very huge, if it's in gigabytes or something like some 1 terabyte data has to be copied, then it's a very resource intensive task, so when the runtimes will shoot up. The next one is the system load. Copying or transporting a client can take a long time because large amounts of data are moved. One or more dialog processes are occupied for this time. The database interface is heavily loaded. That's why we have to, the basis administrators have to log in periodically and check the progress of the client copy. You have to see like how the database space, whether it's available or not. Okay, and they generally, here when we are talking about the load and the runtime, we activate parallel processing. Okay, this client copy it uses most of the dialog work process, so it's better to increase the dialog work process, okay, beforehand, and then we have to monitor periodically like how good it's running. Okay, so the logs, the updates, everything, they run slow. That's why it's better not to use the system. whether it's a demo, okay, whatever quality system you are creating a new client, it's better to log the system and perform the client copy. Now, protecting clients against user login. That's what we were talking about. You must ensure that no users log on to the system during the copy. For technical reasons, only the target client is logged. For example, the log is not reset after the copy is cancelled. You can reset it by calling the transaction SCC3 in any client. So that's what it's, and we have to ensure that other users except the basis administrators who are doing the client copy, who have to monitor the system, okay, we don't allow the end users, all the other teams and the users to log into the system during the client copy. Okay, so only the target client will be logged. There is no impact on the source client. And see, your copy is cancelled at any moment, so you can just reset the log by calling the transaction SCC3 in any other client in that system. Okay, now users who are in the target client before the start of the copy cannot be logged automatically, so you must ensure that they leave the system. Say like already users are actively using the system, your client copy you have to start in next 5 minutes, so before only we generally put messages. Generally, when you know, these are all the processes, especially in production system or dev or QA or whatever it is, beforehand only system administrators, they put messages using the transaction SM02. Okay, so whenever a user is logging to the system, he'll get that message. That message will display that, see, we have a maintenance activity from this time to this time, please do not use the system during that time. Okay, say like if some users are still using, you can kill their session also, or you can tell them to log off. The source and the target clients should both be additionally protected by a system message. Monitor compliance in both clients. Okay, now you should not work in the source client either during the copy. Okay, so ideally the target client should be protected first where the copy is happening. Okay, but it is advised that you shouldn't use the source client also, because when you try to change some data, the copy is running now, you try to change some data in the source client. Okay, but however the old snapshot will be copied, but it might cause some inconsistencies. Okay, especially that client specific and cross client data, you know, all these get affected. So that's why what we say is log both the systems during the client copy and then perform the copy. Okay, you have to send messages to the users using SM02. Before you start the copy, ensure that all users are logged off or kill their sessions in the client. Okay, now restrictions. You cannot access archive data in the target client if the target client number is not the same as the source client number, and the change document table such as CD header HDR, P CD HDR, okay, header CD pause and P CD pause. Okay, so these change document tables, user administration change document, and generic logs like the application log tables val star, val header, val dat are not copied. So the change document tables and the application, the generic tables like the application logs, okay, which start with BAL, okay, so BAL star tables are not copied. And say like in the source client you have archived some data. Okay, so the target client, if the number is different, even though you copy this data, put it there, from that client you will not be able to access the archive data unless the client numbers are same. So if you are doing a copy, you are creating a new client in the same system, of course the number should be different from the source client. Say if you are doing a client copy into another system, you can have the client numbers to be same because the system IDs are different. Okay, so these two are the restrictions. So when we do a copy, first thing is you have to create the entry of the new client in SCC4. Okay, log into the new client using SAP star and the password is pass. This SAP star user ID is delivered by SAP. It's embedded in the SAP kernel. Okay, you can additionally you can create a record at the SAP level also. Okay, to prevent unauthorized users logging onto the system using this substar user. So that's why whenever you create a fresh client, this user will be available. If it's logged in the system, there is one parameter login. I think it's no automatic user substar or something like that. So you can reset that parameter, then you will be able to log in. You can check the SAP documentation. Okay, now the next one is the resource requirements. Okay, so here you have to make sure, first thing is please do a test run. Make sure that there is, calculate how much space is required and what is the runtime. Okay, so you make sure that there is sufficient space in the database. Okay, because there will be a lot of temporary usage also, so the temporary space in the database also should be high. Okay, and the other thing is we can even estimate about the runtime while doing a test run. Okay, so according to that we can decide the maintenance time, the outage time, like this much time is required, we log the system for this much time. Okay, and well, before starting the copy, no users should log on to the target client especially, so they log the target client. Okay, and they kill all the user sessions. Okay, so these things we have to do before triggering the client copy. The next one is the restrictions. Two restrictions are the change document tables and the application log tables are not copied in the target client, and if the source in the target client numbers are not same, then you will not be able to access the archive data. Okay, now client copy data types. So in the first video we have spoken that we need not copy the entire client data, we can copy only some restricted data which is decided by the profiles. Okay, so that's what we'll see, like what are those profiles and what are the different data types we have. The client copy can copy the following components of the source client into the target client. First thing is the user master data. So user master data is only deleted in the target system if a profile with user master data is copied. Authorization profiles and roles belong to customizing and are therefore always copied with it. Copying users without authorization profiles is problematic. The copy profile SAP_user therefore contains additional authorization profiles and roles. So one option is to copy the user master data. Okay, so here the profile is SAP_user. Okay, so that profile can be used to copy the user master data. Now customizing. All profiles except SAP_user contain customizing. Customizing data is generally in tables with delivery classes C, G, E and S. So every table has a associated delivery class with it. Okay, so one such type of data type is customizing. Okay, the customizing means it's generally the client specific data. Okay, now cross-client customizing. Choose a profile with this data type. For example, when you want to create a test system which is analogous to the production system and no system copy is to be made. Cross-client customizing means the data which is therein common across all the clients. Okay, inconsistencies can arise in the target system after transporting cross-client tables. Cross-client customizing can only be used to create a new system because the existing clients can be corrupted by changes in their context. So this cross-client customizing, there is a risk. Okay, now say we have a system, I have my clients 100 and 200. Now I'm creating a new client 300 and I'm copying the data from a different system into this client 300. Client specific data has no impact because the other clients will not be affected. However, if there is some cross-client customizing data, then if you bring the data from that another system into this existing system which already has clients 100 and 200. So then already the data, the cross client customizing data which is there will get affected, will get corrupted. Okay, so that's why unless it's a fresh system, okay, you have created a fresh system and first time you are copying, we don't go for this cross client customizing. When we create a new clients, we have already 5 clients and we are creating the 6th client, we don't do this. Okay, okay, if you are doing a client copy from the same system, it makes sense because the cross client customizing is same in that system. But whenever you do a client copy from a different system, okay, the system already has some clients which has some cross client customizing. So if you bring data from that client, this cross client data, then the existing cross client data in the new client will be corrupted. That's what. Scenario 1, you have just installed the target system. The first step in setting up a client is to import a client from another system, right? So you have freshly installed one system. First thing what we have to do, we have to import a client from another system. Since there are no other clients in the system yet, you can also copy the cross client customizing settings to ensure that they remain consistent, including those pointing to cross client objects. That's what I have said earlier. So this is my fresh installation, no other clients are there, so not a problem, you can get the data from another system, the cross client data. Okay, scenario 2, we have set up clients in the target system whose data must be retained. Cross client data must not be imported into this system. Now already you have a system running with 5 clients. I'm creating a 6th client, so you shouldn't bring the cross client data from another system. Okay, that will impact the cross client data which is already there in this system. The data would override the existing data and the customizing of the other clients in the target system would no longer be consistent. Only the data in the new client would be consistent. This is why you should not transport cross client data. That's why cross client data should not be transported across different systems. The data in the other clients of the target system is then still usable, and only the new client needs some post-processing to reconcile the client-specific customizing data copied with the cross-client customizing data of the target client. So what SAP says is, don't do the cross-client data copy when you have already clients in the system. Okay, so you just bring the client-specific data and then you do some post-processing. Okay, because already the system has cross-client data, so that data and the client specific data will be reconciled. Now the next one is the master transaction data, that is the application. Select this option, for example, if you want to set up a test system from a production client. So first thing is the user, the master data you can copy, then the customizing, cross client customizing. Now we have the application data. Application data depends on customizing data, so it can only exist consistently together with it. Application data is always therefore deleted from the target client, exception for copies with SAP_user. Application data is generally in the tables with delivery class A. Okay, the amount of data and thus the memory required and the copy time for productive clients can be considerable. In this case, you should not copy application data, you should create the required test data with other tools. Okay, so application data generally will be very huge. Okay, you bring the customization. Okay, with the customizing data you bring it, but if you want to do a client copy of the application data when the system is for very big systems, this will be very huge. Okay, so you will require a lot of database space, memory, CPU, okay, all these things. So that's why we generally don't copy this application data, we only bring the customizing. Okay, and then we create data in the new client using other tools. Okay, so different types of data types are the user master data, the customizing, the cross client customizing, and the application data. Now when these client copies are done, okay, they will have an impact on the number ranges. Okay, so what is this number arrangements? We have many applications running in SAP. Okay, say like I'm creating a new ledger or whatever it is, I'm creating a new document. Okay, so unique number should be assigned to that for every new document I create. Okay, whether it's a finance or whatever it is, a sales document or whatever it is. So this number arrangements, to get a new number, okay, I'm creating a new finance document. So the number of using this number ranges, SAP will allocate a new number, unique number to that document. So whenever we do a client copy, the number ranges are taken into account. Okay, now here the first thing is customizing and application data is copied. The number ranges are copied with the data because they are required by the application data. Okay, and only when if customizing data is copied, the number ranges are reset because the application data that refers to them is deleted and then reconstructed. Okay, so when we copy only customizing, okay, so the number ranges are reset. Now see, the number range, it starts from 1 to, it starts from 1, okay, then it in 2 3, for every new document which is created in the system, SAP allocates a new number to that. Okay, so in the source system, if you copy only the customizing data, then the number ranges in the new client are reset. They are reset to the initial value. Okay, but if you copy both data, application data with the customizing, then the number ranges are also copied because the, say like I'm copying my documents also. No, application data means say I'm copying my finance documents or some tables which contain all these things. Okay, the controlling documents or a sales document or a ledger, whatever it is, then I have the data now. Okay, the data means like I have documents now, so the document has some number. Okay, so that's why you have to copy the number ranges also. Okay, so that's why these two cases are there. If only customizing data is copied, then the number ranges are just reset. If you copy both customizing and application data, then the number ranges also have to be copied to the new client. Now, client copy profile. So earlier in this video, we have learned that we have different profiles because all the data in the client need not be copied. We can only copy a part of the data, whatever data we want. So that's why we have many profiles. Okay, so here I'm just showing you only a few profiles. In addition to this, you have many other profiles also, but these profiles, the ones which are listed here, are generally used. When copying, you can use copy profiles that simplify selection and combination of objects to be copied. SAP delivers the following copy profiles in the table below. The customizing and the application data is deleted in the target client before copying for all profiles except SAP_user. This is technically unavoidable. Okay, so to simplify our work, okay, if we want set of whatever data if we want to copy, so SAP comes up with copy profiles. Okay, now in the target client, first thing is the customizing and the application data is deleted before copying all profiles except SAP_user. Okay, and one more thing in client copy is you can create a fresh client and do the copy. Fresh client has new data, no configuration, so we copy everything. See, I have a client which already has some data and configuration. We can, when we do a client copy, we are just trying to overwrite it. So in that case, so the customizing and application data is deleted first. Okay, but except this SAP_user, in all other profiles, the customizing and the application data is deleted. So SAP_user, user roles and authorization profiles are copied. The client is not reset. SAP_UONL, user without authorization profile and role. SAP_prof, PROF, only authorization profiles and roles are copied. SAP_cust, this is an important one. SAP_user, SAP_cust. Client specific customization including authorization profile is copied. The application data is deleted. The user data is retained. Now SAP underscore CUSV, SAP cust with variants, SAP underscore UCUS, SAP cust with user master records, SAP underscore UCSV, SAP UCUS with variants, SAP underscore all client data except change documents. Okay, you can refer to this SAP node also. Okay, SAP node means you can go to the SAP service marketplace and you can give this node number here. Okay, SAP comes up with various documentations. Okay, for each one they put it in a note, and every note has a number. Okay, so you can check this note. Now SAP underscore APPL, SAP all without user master data, SAP underscore APX, SAP all without authorization profile. So if we have many other copy profiles also. I have not listed all of them here. These are the generally used ones. Among this, the main ones are SAP underscore user, generally we use it, SAP underscore cust, we use it, SAP underscore all, or SAP underscore APPL. Okay, so these things we use it. So when we do a copy, okay, if it's a new client which is created, then not a problem, you can copy directly. But if the client is already existing, then first the customizing and the application data is deleted, and then the new data is copied, except for the profile SAP underscore user. Okay, so that is about the different profiles. So when you initiate a client copy using different transactions, in the next screen I'll tell you like what are the different transactions which are used, client copies in different scenarios. Okay, so first thing is we have to select a profile. Okay, what data you want to copy, we will be given a choice. 3 client copy T codes. Now if we want to do a local client copy, okay, the transaction code is SCCL. Okay, local client copy means you have created a new client, or you have some client in the system, you're copying data from the client in the same system. Okay, that is local. Now copying clients between systems, this is known as remote client copy. I am copying the clients between two different SAP systems. Okay, so it's SCC9, it's the remote copy. Now transporting client between systems, so you can transport a client between the systems also. So for the first thing we have to do is you have to do a client export in the source system using SCC8. So it will create 3 types of requests. Okay, 3 transports will be created. Then you import all those 3 transports into the target client using HTML, and you do some post processing using SCC7. Okay, now deleting a client, the transaction code is used as SCC5. When you delete the client, you have to delete all the associated data with that client also. So that is done by using this T code SCC5. And displaying copy logs is done using SCC3. Okay, when a client copy is running or the old client copy logs, you can check it using the transaction SCC3. Okay, so these are the transactions which are used for a local copy, a remote copy, then transporting client between systems, client deletion, and displaying the log. And initially we have seen that the client, first thing, it has to be created in the table SCC4. In the transaction code SCC4, it has a table. So there, if it's a new client, then you have to create it there. If it's already an existing client which you are overriding it, then it's not a problem. But if it's a new client you are creating, then you have to maintain it in this transaction code SCC4. Okay, so that will display all the clients which are existing in the system. Okay, so this is about client copy. So we have started with what is a client copy. New client, if you are creating a new client, you have to create in this SCC4. Okay, then you can log in using substar user ID and pass. If it's already an existing client, you can log in with your ID to do the client copy, but you have to make sure that you have the authorizations to carry out the client copy. Okay, now the next one is you have to take care about the resource requirements. For that, we suggest to do a test run to calculate the amount of database space required and the runtime. Okay, and protecting clients against user login. Means when the copy is running, we have to log the target client, and even in the source client, it's better not to log in. Okay, so we have to inform the users, and before starting the client copy, we have to kill all the active users. We have to ask them to log off, or we can end their sessions. And the restrictions in the client copy are you can't access the archived data if the target client number is not same as the source client number, and the change documents tables and the application log tables are not copied. Next one, we have seen about the client copy data types. Okay, so different data types like the user master data, the customizing data, the cross client customizing, okay, and the master or the transactional data, that is the application data, can be copied. So these different data types can be copied using the different profiles which are listed here. Okay, you have many other profiles also, but generally with the ones which we use is SAP user, SAP cust, and SAP all. Okay, and the other thing we have to take care is about the number ranges. Number ranges is nothing but every document in SAP is given a unique number. Okay, so when you copy the application data, the number ranges are also to be copied. If you copy only customizing data, then in the new client the number ranges are just reset. Okay, and these are the transactions used in this client copy procedures, like SCCL for local client copy, SCC9 for remote client copy. Then you can transport a client between systems. 3 steps you have to do. You have to do a client export using SCC8, then import. 3 requests will be generated, then you have to import them into the target client using SDMS, and then do some post processing using SCC7, and deleting the client is done using SCC5, and you display the copy logs using SCC3. Okay, so this is all about the client copy in SAP. Thank you.